Welcome to the Benji channel. My name is Benji, and this One Piece chapter is absolutely crazy. It's a really good one. I'm talking Sanji hype, I'm talking Kuzan hype, I'm talking Garp hype, and I'm talking Blackbeard hype, if you like that sort of thing. And yes, I do have a couple comments on the Law and Blackbeard battle, which wraps up in this chapter, but I'll wait on that. But before I begin, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to the Benji channel. I make One Piece chapter reviews as well as One Piece discussion videos, and very soon I will be doing some live streams on the channel as well, and talking about other anime and manga, of course, which I say I'm always going to do, but I end up not doing it, but you know, you get the point. And also join the anime and manga podcast, Geek Giant Podcast, one of the dopest, if not the dopest, anime podcasts that you will ever hear. But I'm not wasting any more time. Let's go ahead and begin with One Piece chapter 1081, Kuzan, the 10th captain of the Blackbeard Pirates. Now before we begin, we start with a color spread, and boy, Oda, I see what you're doing, my guy. This is yet another color spread kind of emphasizing that Sanji is the main focus, and here's why. Obviously, last cover spread we got Sanji basically doing a pretty dope kick, and basically on his shirt it says killing two birds with one stone, a very dope and iconic color spread, I do say so myself. But in this color spread, we're in for a treat. You see, in this color spread it looks like Sanji may be hinted at to have Conqueror's Haki. Now this spread in general is pretty dope, but I do want to show you these indicators that Sanji may have King's Haki. Check this out. First off, everyone in this spread is asleep, except the GOAT himself, Sanji, who seems to be up and awake reading a book. Nothing crazy, right? Yet, there's something very interesting about the book that Sanji seems to be reading, which at first glance just looks like a regular cooking book. But a closer look at it, it says cocking. Pause. I know, haha, funny, you know, whatever. But COC, or cock, is a known acronym. But COC is a known acronym within the One Piece community. Now, yes, you can present the argument that Oda, as well as the Japanese audience, don't necessarily use much of the westernized abbreviations or acronyms. Yet, Oda spelling the word cooking twice incorrectly definitely indicates that this was very purposeful. But to add the icing on the cock, cook. If you look at the spine of the book, there's a very pronounced crown at the end of the word king. Now, this could very much be a reach, but you can't tell me not to raise my eyebrows at this. And the fact that the rest of Sanji's Straw Hat counterparts are all sleeping, it may possibly be a direct reference to how Conqueror's Haki knocks out people when it is first used. And the fact that Conqueror's Haki, when used in its finest form, Advanced Conqueror's Haki, can actually give off a black lightning byproduct. And we do know that Sanji's epithet is none other than Black Leg Sanji. Imagine Sanji with black lightning on his Ifrit Jambi. Oh, my boy is going to be OP. But I'm telling you right now, if Sanji does have Conqueror's Haki, I am not going to shut up. I'm letting you know this right now. But no more talking about Sanji, let's actually get into the actual chapter. So we begin the chapter with some hype from last chapter, and Garp is a demon. Last chapter, we see him unleash his first named attack, and this is called Galaxy Impact. Fire name and a possible hint to what Garp is truly capable of within his moveset. And last chapter also confirmed that Garp has Conqueror's Haki. And this just adds more hype to the Monkey D's name, especially once we get to see Dragon, who I think is going to be an even bigger demon once he is truly revealed. But Garp arrives spectacularly, and he arrives with the other subdivision of the Marines, none other than Sword, which from the looks of it is actually an unbranded division that is kind of expendable, at least from what Aokiji said in the previous chapter. Anyways, Prince Gruas, who is one of the main members of the Sword organization, actually uses his Devil Fruit ability in order to soften the landing of Garp's ship. And in a very dope panel, we see our boy Garp standing while fodder has been decimated by his large-scale attack on the pirate island. Garp flexes and actually says that he's lost his touch, which is pretty funny because if you just imagine a prime Garp, I know this man was an absolute menace. We move to see that Helmeppo as well as Tashigi are very happy to see that Garp has arrived. And others who aren't as happy, Prince Guras, who seems to be a little bit jealous of Kobe, and I can see why. I mean, they already kind of made it official that Kobe is the new shining star of the Marines, so there's that. And I do want to point something out here. If you look at Prince Guras as well as some of the other sword members, they do have the extendo brims. I mean, look at his hat. I mean, this shit is funny. Anyways, Kobe, who has seemingly kind of escaped, who is still kind of shackled though, is actually accompanied by none other than Hibari. And Hibari, if you guys do remember, seems to be the daughter of none other than Akainu. And just like that, when they are trying to run to Garp's side, it seems that someone decided to turn Hibari straight into ice. To the shock of the Marine militia, Hibari is frozen solid. And it is revealed that none other than Kuzan has stepped in. Now, Kuzan, or Aokiji, is one of my favorite characters within the One Piece series, especially because, he's one of the brothers. And also, I don't know, I just like his disposition, especially from the time that we kind of see him within Ohara and extending that all the way to Marineford. So I really do like Aokiji, and I think a lot of his mindset is kind of developed within this chapter. So I really do kind of want to explore that. Garp demands Aokiji to go ahead and unfreeze Hibari. But I'm gonna be honest, it feels like this is a personal shot considering that Hibari may be Akainu's daughter, and he could have easily just frozen Kobe's. We then move to a flashback of how Aokiji actually got tied in with the Blackbeard pirates. And it's funny because Aokiji seems to be on the pirate island, really minding his business, and Blackbeard's subordinates decided to mess with him and they paid the price. So basically, Aokiji freezes a lot of Blackbeard's subordinates, and basically Blackbeard is kind of shocked, and he says that, they're pretty much idiots. But interestingly enough, it seems like Blackbeard and Aokiji have a pretty cordial relationship with each other, at least from what we see in this chapter. I like seeing the brothers interact. That's my thing. I love seeing my brown brothers interacting. You feel me? But the major takeaway, especially from this flashback, seems to be the description of how Aokiji took his battle with Akainu within this time skip of 2 years. During this battle, which lasted 10 days, Aokiji let it be known that he lost his leg, but Akainu definitely has some nicks and bruises from this battle as well. And I'm supposing maybe under his shirt, we know that Akainu hasn't necessarily lost any limbs, but I do want to kind of see what other kind of scars that Akainu received from the damage that Aokiji did. This was an extreme difficult fight, I think, for both of these individuals, but it also goes to show you how strong Akainu is, but not only how strong Aokiji is. But aside from that, we actually get more information on none other than the man marked by flames, who we previously thought was Saul, but from this chapter, it may be someone different. Check this out. The man marked by flames is said to have one of the 4 poneglyphs that are essential to finding the One Piece. But the information that we receive in this chapter about the man marked by flames makes me believe that none other than Monkey D. Dragon might be this individual. And this also could relay into a possible relationship between Dragon and Akainu. The man is described like this. That man can be found on a pitch black ship, and if anyone sails near it, it can be swallowed up by a giant whirlpool. He may very well have a devil fruit ability. Now the reason I say that Dragon may be a candidate for the man marked by fire is because that Dragon ship is actually pretty pitch black, pretty black. I'm gonna show you it right here. And so far, what we've seen from Dragon within the story, we know that he has a powerful wind ability from the looks of it. And we do know that whirlpools are started within basically rotation. I'm not really too much of a scientist, but I'm pretty sure wind can create a whirlpool. But the only question with this presented is, why in the world would Dragon, who seems to not have any ambition to find the One Piece, have one of the poneglyphs? So it could be Dragon or it could be rocks. But like I said, we don't even know if Roxy's still alive at this point, but that would be very interesting. It could also be Gabon, but we don't know that either. But we move on to a funny interaction because it seems like some of the Blackbeard subordinates are trying to basically plot to take over Aokiji and his devil fruit, which Aokiji hears and subsequently turns them back into ice. But Blackbeard wants to make it clear that he has no intention of stealing his devil fruit and that his crew is morons for even suggesting such. But from the looks of it, Blackbeard wants to create a partnership between him and Aokiji. And he says this: "How would you like to join our crew? You're basically out of a job, right? Got any other prospects? The Guardians of Justice jumped you, so what's next? You know I live by a different definition of justice." Now, Aokiji is very hesitant at this point, but Blackbeard continues. "You've got pirates all wrong. We ain't just a merry band of chums bumming around together. We all profit from having our own agendas. That's what makes us pirates." And in essence, I feel like we all do have our agendas, especially when it comes to the One Piece community. And it's kind of funny because I guess in essence, we are all pirates. But, I digress. But I absolutely love this moment from Blackbeard because inherently, Blackbeard and Luffy share the same values to a degree. Two sides of the same coin. Shout out to Soma in the Discord for that one. The way they carry their ambitions and how they see freedom is unique to both, but they believe in the same precedent, which I find very interesting and makes me more and more excited for this inevitable battle between Blackbeard and Luffy soon to come. We cut back to the present and Garp is a little bit more upset for the fact that Kuzan is kind of retaliating against him, and he actually asks him to go ahead and unfreeze Hibari and get back into his marine uniform. Gotta love Garp for staying true to his marine ways. Akainu declines and immediately attacks Garp. But Garp's old age isn't going to stop him from putting in work. He grabs Aokiji by the face and Garp uses another named attack called Blue Hole, which smashes Aokiji with a force from his conqueror's haki. And I don't know, Kuzan looks to be in pretty bad shape after this attack, but I'm not going to rule Kuzan out, especially since we know that he's pretty strong being able to fight at least Akainu for 10 days straight. And I'm just hoping that Kuzan actually does put in a little bit more work. Hopefully we see that he has awakened his ice devil fruit, or we kind of see some new stuff from him. I'm very excited to see that possibly. But I will say this right now, Garp stocks are going through the roof, and I do wish that I invested early. But we end the chapter with some predictable outcomes, and I'm guessing you already know what it is. Blackbeard has defeated Law in a high diff battle to the death. I'm not gonna say all that, but it was a pretty big battle. It was a pretty decent battle. Law put in work. That's all I'm gonna say. Law put in work. But now, seriously, we do know that Blackbeard was able to use his Black Vortex on Law, and then after that, basically, Law got off screen. But I will say there is some discrepancies between that very attack and a little bit later on. It seems like Blackbeard received a little bit more damage after that attack was implemented because he's bleeding from his head, and he hadn't previously been bleeding from his head, if I'm not mistaken. So I do want to kind of see if Oda will touch on it, but I'm pretty sure he isn't. But yeah, I think Law put in work. I think Law put in work. It was a high diff fight, maybe mid diff, but high diff fight. But ultimately, Law fell victim to the plot no me. He fell victim to Blackbeard's greatness. So there's that. But also, Law's submarine has also been destroyed, as well as his other crewmates. Now also, I will say this, it doesn't seem, at least from this chapter, that Blackbeard was able to capture Law's poneglyphs. Now, it could obviously be wrong, and something could have probably happened before then. But, the fact of the matter is, we do know that Law's pretty smart. And, I'm not saying that he didn't lose his poneglyphs, but, it is not confirmed, at least like kids and his pirates were. So, there's that as well. But Blackbeard starts talking absolutely wild and starts talking about selling or actually using the Opi no Mi. And I just want to put this out there. A lot of Blackbeard fans were saying that Blackbeard is going to come back saying room. And I'm glad 100% that Oda did not do that. Because, me and Oda will have to be scrapping. But Beppo, who was injured, actually remembers a special pill that seems to have been given to him by none other than Chopper. Now quick, this could be a beast point, kind of like similar to Chopper's monster form, but it also could be just a reaction or like a, what can I say, like a, I guess an artificial moon to Beppo in order for him to go Sulong. So there are those two options. Now I am happy that Oda was able to introduce Beppo's Sulong form now, because I feel like this is the most opportune time in order to introduce it as opposed to Wano. I did give Beppo a lot of slack for Wano, but I will say that Beppo came through in this very moment. But Blackbeard is shocked to see Sulong Beppo, and it seems that Beppo and Law are able to escape. Law, exhausted, actually wants Beppo to return back to Winter Island in order to save his other crewmates. So the fact that, you know, Law was willing to go back, you know, in order to try to save his other crewmates is pretty commendable. I like this from Law. Beppo lets him know that it's probably not the smartest idea to go back, and that their journey will not end here. Their crewmates are stronger than this. They grew up in the North Blue, you feel me? They grew up in the North Blue. And this is pretty much the most inspirational thing that we've seen come out of Beppo, so I really like this as well. And this is also funny if you look at the juxtaposition between this moment of Beppo being a little bit more optimistic for Law and his crew, as opposed to Kid and Heat basically saying, "Here, Shanks, here's all the poneglyphs, so you know, you can take them, our dream's done." So I like the juxtaposition. But we end the chapter with the defeat of the Heart's Pirates by Trafalgar Law. But it's not that bad. I feel like it kind of was lost on a positive note, and let's be honest, we all had an idea that Blackbeard was pretty much going to, you know, pack up the Heart Pirates, so there's that. I'm just glad Law did his thing before losing, you know, he got a couple shots in, you know, he defeated the odds. You know, a lot of people were slandering him, Mr. Morris, but at the end of the day, Law put in that work. But that is the end of the chapter, and it seems like next week is going to be a break week, I think because of Golden Week, if I'm not mistaken. But what do you think of the chapter? Does Sanji actually have Conqueror's Haki? What is going to happen between this decisive battle between Garp and Kuzan? And what is the future fate of our beloved King and Law? Let me know in the comments down below. And like and subscribe to the Vince Smoke Benji channel. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.